People don't really know the depth and the level of poverty and lack of housing and violence against Indian women until you start working in it. We have a lot of homeless women who get assaulted continuously. I had a very good friend who died about 5 years ago. She was a chronic alcoholic. One time she was raped while she was drunk in an alley. And when the cops picked her up, they took her to detox. They didn't take her to the hospital to get checked out. She came from a family of 12 kids, and they all were sent to foster care. And so all her brothers and sisters worked or were fostered out to different places. Her chronic alcoholism was the result of all that trauma. She died of her alcoholism on the lake walk there. She went to sleep and she froze to death. She never woke up. And my office at that time, before I moved up here, was right looking the lake walk. So I saw when the ambulance came, it was a really traumatic event. And there are thousands of stories like that.
The question is, why have we been excluded from the public narrative? Why has our shared history been filtered to not include Native people?
There's over 567 federally recognized tribes in this country. Just think about it. That should be a blessing for the United States, an honor that they have Indigenous people who are creative, who sing songs, who write books, who become doctors, lawyers. But we're dying in record numbers. If we don't keep our people healthy and thriving, and people don't try to get to understand this more, 100 years from now, are we going to be here?
I do grant writing, and so we have to demonstrate need. So the staff had shared with me some of the data that we had, and it was that this is like from 2013, but 65% of Natives living in Duluth were at the federal poverty level or below. I know that we're going to talk about trafficking, but it is totally tied to those issues of poverty and systems that are used to responding or intervening with American Indian families. So I'm an Anishinaabe woman, and I think that my life matters. And I think that the people who are in my community, we matter. And so when I see the conditions that we are born into and that we live with, I have to ask, why is that?
I remember the first time AICHO opened its doors for an open house. Me and a coworker were walking into the apartments and stuff, and I started crying. And I was crying because it's the first time in my lifetime, up till then, this was 20-something years ago, that I'd seen brand new apartments, clean living conditions, adequate housing. So I was happy. They have 29 units here, and they're pretty much always filled.
We are an emergency domestic violence shelter. We provide emergency shelter for those experiencing domestic violence, sex trafficking, sexual assault. We also have a legal advocate, and then we have a community outreach person. So for those who leave shelter, we provide outreach services for 6 months after they leave. Or if we have people who call for shelter and we're not able to get them in because we're full, we can still provide outreach services to help them with housing or job search, transportation, hooking up with mental health services.
Having a victim-centered approach is important because a lot of them are coming out of a space where they didn't have the option to choose. And so by us giving them their options and then providing that support, whatever it may be, whether we agree, whether we disagree, that's what helps build that rapport and then that connectedness. Because if we give them that power to choose, then they can see what it's like to be empowered.
To me, the best response is that someone never gets trafficked, right? So if you have a person that can be protected by community, who knows that they are of high value, and that they have all of these opportunities and all of this beautiful life to live. So that's what we try to create here. We have cultural events, we reconnect, we're building that cultural strength. One of the biggest factors around being resilient is not that you're a strong person, it's that you're connected to others. And so that's what we do here. This is a place where everyone belongs.
An abuser or a perpetrator's most powerful tool is silence. So if you're observing something as an outsider looking in and you don't say anything and you don't bring attention to it, you're giving them that power. They rely on nobody wanting to talk about it. They rely on the fact that nobody wants to believe that that would happen in their community or in their family or whatever the situation is. And so that empowers them to keep doing what it is that they're doing. We were always accepting donations, that's always a good thing, but I think would be more helpful or as helpful would be to, just kind of step up and take action and be a part of it. We have to have that kind of support. It can't just be just our staff and only the people immediately involved that are providing those services and doing that work. It needs to be the whole community.